I've heard people say that, I don't, really care about this too much, and, I just brush it off my shoulders, and, those people don't know me, because this thing, regarding USC and the NCAA is, to me, the closest thing to death without dying.
USC was hit with heavy sanctions by the NCAA this summer after it determined Bush had received improper benefits.
You want to know something crazy? You can strip away the trophies, the medals, even the titles. But what you can't strip away is the impact. And in the heart of LA, Reggie Bush didn't just play college football. He was college football.
The most explosive player in college football. I would say I can make a run for that.
Born on March 2nd, 1985, in the vibrant community of Spring Valley, California, Reggie's talent was evident from an early age. He joined a local team in the Pop Warner League and began to play the game that would become his career.
First coaches that I had, they kind of set the foundation for me, right? Because they taught me how to work hard. They taught me how to be disciplined. They kind of set that foundation for me of what it meant, what it took, to be great. And I credit them because that was my first introduction to the sport, and that left a big impact on me.
Reggie Bush not only scored several touchdowns, but he also demonstrated an instinctive ability to dodge tackles and carry the ball, skills that would become his trademark as his career progressed. By the time he attended Helix High School in La Mesa, Bush excelled in both football and track. At the California State Track Championship, he ran the 100-meter race in a record 10 minutes and 42 seconds. But in football, he helped the Helix football team to 2 sectional championships while maintaining a 3.8 grade point average.
Education always comes first. My parents always taught me that before you play sports, your education comes first, because without that, you're not going to be able to succeed in life.
He dazzled crowds alongside future NFL quarterback Alex Smith, his athleticism speaking in a language all could understand. Excellence.
At the beginning, they kind of got a little scared with us and actually stopped the run a little bit in the beginning, so God had to throw the ball, and they dropped off, so I think we actually got to show our full potential at offense.
Reggie, the trophy's finally yours for keeps now. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I got it in my arms. I realize the honor that's instilled within this trophy, and I just hope I can live up to it one day. We had a TV show, and it was on KUSI 9. It's called the Prep Pigskin Report. When they show you highlights on TV, you're like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? I'm on there mixing people up on the football field, putting their foot in the ground, creating highlights, and you start to see that immediate feedback.
Despite his athletic success, Bush maintained a down-to-earth attitude and a sense of a personal discipline learned from his mother and stepfather. Denise Griffin worked as a sheriff deputy in the county jail, and Lamar Griffin worked as a security guard and a minister. They encouraged their son to be both responsible and devout, requiring him to do regular chores, even after becoming a star athlete. The values they instilled would help their son remain humble and straightforward as he achieved fame and success.
For me, and we decided that it would be University of Southern California.
Congratulations. Why the decision to stay in California and be with Pete Carroll and the Trojans?
Well, we felt like it was close to home, and they got a great program. They only have one returning running back. And best of all, I get to keep my number.
Something about tailback you. Congratulations. Enjoy your stay in Southern Cal.
Thank you.
Reggie's arrival at the University of Southern California in 2003 marked the beginning of an era that would forever change the college football landscape. Led by head coach Pete Carroll and future Heisman Trophy winner Matt Leinart, the Trojans would have an impressive season. They finished with a 12-1 record, dominating wins over rivals Notre Dame and UCLA, secured a second consecutive Pac-10 title, and clinched a big Rose Bowl victory against Michigan.
Lessons about what just happened. We just kept staying with it, fellas. We just just kept staying with what we do. And you went out in the second half and you kicked their ass again and got it done exactly the way we've been doing it all the time. We know how to do this. We need to be darn proud of it. We need to remember it and take it with us.
As a freshman at USC, Reggie quickly demonstrated his many talents, gaining 521 yards and 90 carries and topping the Pac-10 League in kickoff returns. He was named to several All-American teams and won USC's Jack Oakey Rise and Shine Award. USC, with Reggie as a star, wasn't just a team. It was a cultural phenomenon that transcended the city, inspiring a generation of athletes and fans alike.
10, forget it! Reggie Bush, touchdown!
USC under Pete Carroll's regime, they were like the Showtime Lakers. Every week, it was a who's who. Being right there in Hollywood and not having an NFL team at the time, if people wanted to be seen or associated with a winner, they came to USC.
I used to throw TD passes, I burn up their asses, but Snoop Dogg is on the field, taking the classes, passing. Oh, so quick, oh, so swift.
As Reggie's fame soared, so did USC's dominance. By his junior year, it was clear Reggie Bush was just different.
So what a cut. 25-20, east of the 10, cuts inside, still on his feet, drives for the end zone, comes up about a half-yard short. A thing of beauty.
His 2005 season was the stuff of legends, bringing to life the phrase video game number. Reggie's average of 8.9 yards per carry was the highest in the country, and it demonstrated his enormous versatility by earning touchdowns in 5 different ways: kickoff returns, punt returns, rushing, receiving, and passing. Those numbers were a huge reason why USC rolled through their regular season schedule, earning a berth in the BCS championship game against second-ranked Texas.
Varying colors that have come to the stadium, the Trojans on one end and Texas on the other end and the other side, and I want to tell you there are a lot of Texans in this stadium tonight.
Led by quarterback Vince Young, the Trojans would lose in the closing seconds, in a game that is still talked about as one of the greatest college football games ever.
4th and 5, the national championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it.
For all the hype entering that game, it truly lived up to his expectations. The 2005 Heisman Trophy came down to 3 players: Vince Young, USC's quarterback Matt Leinart, who won the previous season, and Reggie. Leinart was able to cast a vote as a former winner, and along with a majority of other voters, he cast his ballot with his teammate Bush on the top line.
2005 Heisman Memorial Trophy. The winner is Reggie Bush of USC.
The USC running back secured a historical 784 first-place votes to secure the Heisman Trophy. But with much success came scrutiny, and the NCAA's gaze turned coldly upon USC. Accusations of impropriety within the program led to an investigation that would shake the foundation of college sports.
Citing a series of events that strike at the heart of college amateurism, the NCAA unloaded on the USC athletic program. No bowl games for the football team for the next 2 years. A loss of 10 scholarships a season for 3 years. There will also be restrictions on how and when USC coaches can recruit high school prospects. And there's more.
For context, the NCAA oversees college sports and athletes in the United States. These athletes are considered amateurs, unlike professional athletes and before NIL, which we'll get into later. They weren't or allowed to be paid for the services outside of whatever is included as part of their scholarships. Essentially, it's a system where everyone involved gets rich, except the players who actually do the work. The NCAA made sure of that. Following an investigation into recruiting practices at USC during that period of time, it was found that Bush had accepted improper benefits while on campus from 2 different agents, including cash, travel expenses, and a rent-free San Diego area home. Those allegations touched off a 4-year investigation, and in 2010, the NCAA dropped the hammer on the school, citing a lack of institutional control the NCAA put the entire USC athletic program on a 4 years probation, took away a total of 30 football scholarships over 3 years, and vacated every victory in which Bush participated in from December 2004 through the 2005 season.
Well, we don't have any choice but to disassociate ourselves with Reggie Bush, who was part of the NCAA sanctions. I've agreed with President-elect Max Nikias' decision to send the Heisman Trophy back and take his jersey out of the Coliseum.
However, Bush was not the only USC student athlete involved, nor was the USC football team the only athletic program cited in the NCAA's decision. The USC basketball team was also cited for violations involving highly touted player O.J. Mayo, as was the women's tennis team. Both those teams had already self-sanctioned themselves prior to the NCAA's decision. Star treatment of athletes such as Bush and Mayo were cited in the NCAA's report. Elite athletes in high-profile sports with obvious great future earnings potential may see themselves as something apart from other student athletes and the general student population. The report will also say institutions need to assure that their treatment on campus does not feed into such perception. Following the issuing of these sanctions, the NCAA vacated all of Reggie's records. Bush was basically scrubbed from the existence at USC. Asterisks were attached to all of his school records, and in September of 2010, he made the unprecedented decision to forfeit his Heisman Trophy, a decision that sent shockwaves throughout the sporting world.
But if it were me, Skip Bayless, I'd still have the Heisman. I would not have given it back. I don't care what anybody says. That's my Heisman Trophy. I earned it. Reggie Bush did not cheat. He didn't take performance-enhancing drugs. According to the allegations, obviously his family received hundreds of thousands of dollars from 2 agents, sports marketers, paid for everything from hotel stays to a rent-free home where Bush's family apparently lived.
Nothing has ever been proven. Nothing. So there was this house my parents moved into. And the reason why my parents moved into this house was because they used to live in a townhome, and they were renting this townhome. My parents come home one day, eviction letter on the door, they got to move out. Not because they weren't paying rent, but because the owners weren't paying the mortgage. And so now they're in a spot where they're looking for a crib, they got nowhere to go. There's some guys that are family friends of ours. One of the guys named Michael Pettiford owns a house that he has, and I think part of his business was real estate. He had a couple different properties. And so when they moved into this house, it was kind of like a short term, just to help us move into a place until they could find out where that next place was gonna be. Moving into that house was the house that the NCAA plastered all across the world as if this was a house that was given to us as a part of me, you know, my name, image, and likeness being sold for whatever. I don't know what they think. But the NCAA, what I just told you, that my parents had to move out of that house, the original townhome, because they were being evicted, the NCAA does not know that piece of information right now because they didn't do their homework. Everything about the investigation was sloppy.
Now, it's rumored that the investigation was driven by a biased dislike for then head coach Pete Carroll and the USC Trojans' success. The NCAA's Committee on Infractions, led by Paul D., who was concurrently involved with infractions at the University of Miami, was seen as having a conflict of interest. This perceived bias, coupled with USC's combative stance, may have contributed to the intensity of the investigation and the harness of the penalties.
After going through the process, from the depositions and the interviews over years and years, and also participating in the hearing for the NCAA, I never thought there was any facts that supported these significant sanctions that have come forth.
Carroll himself criticized the NCAA's approach, suggesting that the investigation was handled irrationally and with excessive emotion, rather than being based on facts. During the course of the investigation, Reggie would go on to the NFL, where he was drafted number 2 overall by the New Orleans Saints.
With the second choice in the 2006 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Reggie Bush, running back, USC.
Although not the superstar he was in college, Bush had a hell of a career, earning $63 million during an 11-year career. Bush went on to make the NFL's All-Rookie team that season and won a Super Bowl with the Saints following the 2009 season.
I'm not surprised. I can't say I'm surprised.
Look who's next to you.
After 5 seasons in New Orleans, Bush spent 2 seasons each with the Miami Dolphins and the Detroit Lions and 1 each with the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. For years, Bush has maintained that he did nothing wrong. However, as the years passed, the landscape of college athletics began to shift.
For decades, college sports has generated billions of dollars off the backs of college athletes, but that could soon be changing.
For the first time, student athletes can make money off their name, image, and likeness.
It's revolutionizing college sports. Student athletes are getting paid for the use of their name, image, and likeness.
The introduction of NIL marked a new dawn, one where athletes could profit from their own persona through sponsorship deals, endorsements, and more. This monumental change challenged the very principles that had led to Reggie's fall from grace. Almost immediately, Bush lobbied to get his Heisman Trophy back, as the rules he allegedly broke essentially were no longer in effect. However, despite the seismic shift in college sports, the NCAA made it clear that previous penalties, such as Bush's, would not be revisited. And that wasn't all the NCAA had to say at the time. The governing body also noted that pay-for-play type arrangements were still prohibited, pointing to their findings involving USC and Bush. That portion of the statement prompted a 2023 defamation lawsuit from Reggie to the NCAA.
Thanks for joining us. For the KTLA 5 News at noon, I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Lawyers say Bush's reputation was damaged by false claims of pay to play.
The NCAA has made a statement about me, accusing me of engaging in a pay-for-play arrangement, which is 100% not true.
However, fortunately for Reggie, the continued changing NIL landscape and outside pressure from media and former Heisman winners is what led to this.
Reggie Bush is getting his 2005 Heisman Trophy back, ESPN has learned, with a formal reinstatement of the trophy coming today. The decision comes amid what the Heisman Trust calls, quote, enormous changes in the college football landscape.
I never believed that in any of the lies that were being told about me, spread about me, things that were being said about me. I never believed it for a single day. And I'm just so thankful I can stand here in front of you guys today, proud, because I did it the right way. I never once cheated this game.
Today, Reggie Bush stands as a symbol of resilience. His story is not just one of fall and rise. It's a narrative that mirrors the evolution of college sports, a journey from restriction to recognition, from the shadows of doubt to the light of acknowledgement. Now, NCAA, you're next up. Let's see if we can get those wins back.
Do you have the Heisman back already? Did they overnight that?
Man, that's right there, big dog.